Hello, friends, and welcome to a new episode of Readings That Heal with me, Marissa of Marissa Moments, where I'm sharing divine words for the day, real life stories, and channeled messages that aim to trigger a spark of your divinity, awaken your spirit, and connect you back to your true self. Now, be warned, this is about divine accountability and self-reflection. So if you're here, it's because you're ready to work and heal. Now, let's get into it. Hey friends, so the word for today is timing, right? And more specifically, divine timing, but we're doing a singular word for the day. So keeping in step, we're talking timing. So here's what I'm talking about. Have you ever had a day feel so long that you just can't wait to go to sleep? I mean, it feels like that day will just never, ever end. And you can't wait to go to bed just so it could be done and over with, right? Now, I know I'm not the only one this way. Or maybe you have a day that feels so busy and accomplished that you wonder how you manage to get everything done. I used to tell my therapist, yes, I used to go to therapy, and I used to tell my therapist there were certain stints in my life where I felt like I was just getting so much done. I told her, you know what? I think I've actually found or discovered a secret to get more than 24 hours in a singular day, because there's no other way that I can be getting all this stuff done, right? I would just run down my list of things that I've done. And mind you, it'd be like by around noon or maybe 2:00 at the most, 2:00 p.m. at the most by that time. And I've already got this huge laundry list of things that I've already accomplished. And man, that felt good, right? But we're talking about timing. Right? Have you ever looked at your kids or even maybe the kids of others and you start to feel a little bit old because, man, they were just knee high to a grasshopper. Now they shooting up like weeds, right? And let's give some little Southern cliches and sayings in there, right? Because time flew in the blink of an eye. All these sayings you might be familiar with, maybe all of them, maybe some. But what we're talking about is divine timing. Because what Spirit put on my heart to share with you is that God can make happen a month's work of activity in a singular minute. Yes, you heard me correctly. Just like that illustration of me talking to my therapist saying, I think I've discovered more than 24 hours in a day. Now, of course, that was my ego. That was my ego because in reality, right? In reality, it was God extending my timing, allowing me to have the capacity to get things done in a manner that he knew would be confirmation, would be best beneficial to me, right? And would be able to push me in a direction that would allow me to get even more things done. Because you want to know something too about timing? The more you get done, the more you can get done. How about that? Isn't that crazy? But it's true, right? I mean, you know it. There are certain days where maybe you want to sit in bed, and maybe you do sit in bed because we all need rest. But on those days that you stay in bed, or maybe you take a little bit longer to get up in the morning, then you're not going to get as much accomplished as in comparison to those days where you just jump up out of bed and you start off early. Now, something about me, I like to get things done early, right? I used to attribute it to maybe I have this inclination because people will always call me an old soul, right? So I want to go into the store. Remember when they were doing I don't know if they still do it, but they were doing the elderly hours at stores, right? When they will open up a little bit earlier for people who were much older to be able to shop in safety and without having to worry about all the rigmarole of just the day and the hustle and bustle and all those things, right? Now, I used to be like, man, I want to go there at that time because, God put in my spirit that the earlier you rise, then the closer you get to your surprise. Now, that was just a whole word right there. Now, we're talking timing, though. And let's make it a little bit more personal, shall we? Because we could talk about getting things done in our laundry list and to-do list and honey-do list or however way you want to phrase it, right? We could talk about that all day long, but maybe that doesn't resonate with you. So we got to dig a little bit deeper is what Spirit is saying. Spirit is talking about timing right now. Now let's talk about those goals, dreams, visions, and manifestations, because we all have some, especially if you're listening to me right now, you have some. Regardless of the gravity of it, regardless of the depth of it, regardless of how big you see it as being, right? It is what you desire. It is what has been put on your heart, right? And maybe it's taken a while to get there, right? And now when I say a while, listen, I've been doing this for about 13 years now. Would I say consistently? No. I've been kind of laying in bed, getting up and then going back to bed. I've been hitting the proverbial spiritual snooze button. I know I'm not the only one. We're talking timing though. But here's the thing, right? I still get frustrated. I'm like, God, I know I got messages from you on my spirit. You have me receiving these downloads to share with others, but I don't feel like my arms are reaching as far as my words should be reaching, right? And then God will humble me every single time, because that's how God does me. That's how God does his favorites, right? God will say, well, have you been consistent? Did you get up in the morning to get those things done that I put on your heart? And I'm like, I put it off for a few years, right? And God is like, well, there you have it. There you have it. And it's not because God is incapable of doing things, right? It's not because God is incapable of bringing our dreams, manifestations, visions, and goals to fruition. It's because God in spirit, Gaia, universe, however you refer to it, is your truth, walk in it, only wants to do us solids, right? Only wants to set us up for success. But here we are on this earthly plane because we've been programmed into impatience when we talk about timing, right? We've been programmed into impatience. So instead of putting in the work, right? Let's talk about a diet, for instance. Instead of putting in the work, then we expect those instantaneous results with bare minimal effort, right? Bare minimal effort. And we expect those instantaneous, mountainous, moving results. Now we're talking about timing. Your time frame, your timeline is not that divine timeline. And furthermore, you have to show the efforts in order to get the results. Now, I mentioned really quickly about a diet, right? Now, let's make this personal. We got to bring it back to the 3D realm so we can understand and we can relate to things. So that way we can resonate it and apply it in a different field, right? So let's talk about a diet. Now, I don't know about you, but I've definitely Googled diets where how do you lose weight without having to do anything? How do you lose weight without having to do anything? Like, I just want to lose weight. I don't want to have to do anything. Go to the gym. Nah, next. Swipe. do some workouts. Swipe. Eat healthier. Swipe. Get up in the morning. Swipe. Put in any type of effort and application. Swipe. No, I'm not trying to do that. I don't want to hear that. Because we want to get things done in our timing and in our way, right? But we're talking about timing here. So what really is required and what God is always showing us, we always have the things that we need, but it's about whether we choose to actually put forth the effort. Now, here's the thing about timing though, too, right? Once God starts seeing you put in that actual effort. Now, I'm not talking about that surface, superficial effort that you're not going to carry on for more than 2 days, right? Because God isn't looking at the surface. God sees into your heart, right? Now, I need you to hear me. I need you to pick up this message, right? Because we could talk a good talk, right? I could be like, yes, I am going to the gym. I'm hitting the gym. I ate a salad today. And God can already see into the future of me having a bag of potato chips, right? And listen, God, Gaia, ancestors, angels, and saints, they're not going to hold it against you. They're not going to be like, well, nope, you're never going to get to the place that you want to be because you won't get an agreement, right? No, that's not going to happen. But what will happen is it's going to cause a pause. It's going to cause a pause, right? And we're talking timing. That pause is going to be implemented, and then we're going to get mad. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to blame God. We're going to blame Gaia. We're going to blame ancestors, or we're going to just look at other people and point fingers, because that's the easier thing to do than to actually look in the mirror and do that shadow work and say, what can I do? What can I do to not necessarily just speed up the timeline, but in order to meet God where he's at, right? Or spirit where he's at, right? Because at the end of the day, all of these dreams and visions, these true dreams and visions, I'm not talking about the fugazi things that we pick up just because we watch somebody else do something real quick and we get inspired and we're like, you know what? I'm going to be a graphic designer. You know what? I'm about to be a saxophonist. You know what? I'm about to paint houses just because we're inspired in that moment, right? That doesn't mean that that's our dream. That doesn't mean that that's our purpose, right? We have to use our discernment to realize the difference, right? Because once we leave that gravitational pull of that energetic excitement, then we realize, nah, actually I don't. Right? And it all has to do with timing. Timing. We have to stay focused. We have to put in the work, and we have to understand that as soon as we get in alignment with what our true purpose is, with what resonates with our spirit and our soul, right? The vision that we've been personally have received from God, Gaia, ancestors, angels, and saints, or heck, I don't know, aliens. It doesn't matter. Whatever you believe is your truth. Walk in it. But when we start getting in alignment with our true purpose, then that's when we're going to notice that timeline speeding up. Because we're talking about timing, right? We're talking about even the synchronicities, right? I know you've heard about synchronicities. If you're listening to me, you already know about the feathers, the coins, the angel numbers, all those things, right? Or even like that deja vu, right? Let's talk Matrix. There's a glitch in the Matrix, right? Once you start getting into that portal, that vortex, then you know you are on to something. And that's when you're going to notice that timing is speeding up, because God is saying, there's my son, there's my daughter. Finally getting in agreement, finally putting in the work, finally doing those things, right? But you know what? I've already talked over 11 minutes on this subject of timing. So hopefully you are picking up what I'm putting down, because I'm about to pass out. So at the end of the day, get in agreement. Ask yourself, what, Lord, God, ancestors, angels, saints, whoever you talk to, right? Talk to them. But truly get away from everyone else. Get away from that outside influence. Get away from the things that, are the false excitements of the moment, right? Get into that space of discernment and ask, what can I do? I don't have to have the full path revealed. I know that when I start taking a singular step, the second step is going to be revealed. It's like a staircase, right? A staircase at night. We just hope and pray that those stairs are there. We might be able to see a couple of steps, but we're not going to be able to see all the way to the bottom, depending on the length of the staircase, right? And this is a big staircase that we're walking. So we have to operate through faith, but we also have to understand that our timing isn't necessarily divine timing. We have to understand that what we command and demand is first and foremost laughable to God, right? It's laughable because we plan and God laughs, right? Just listen. That's why we have twin daughters. I love them to life. So excited about them, happy beyond measure. But they were our attempt at a boy, right? Now let's talk funny, right? But you know what? I'm getting off track. And listen, friend, I need you to hear me. That timing, I know it feels like it's taken forever. I know it. I am walking with you. I am you. I see you. I feel you, right? But at the end of the day, as long as you consistently put in that effort, you will receive the results, regardless of what your passion, regardless of what that goal is. You have to keep going and understand that if it's not happening now, it's because you still have more work to do. So focus on the journey. Don't focus on the destination, and the timing will take care of itself. But that's it. I'm not going to keep going on and on. Take it how it resonates, reflect on it, and then apply it. And that's it. And as you already know, if this message resonates, and when it resonates, because I know it's going to resonate, then that means it is in fact for you. And if it resonates for someone else, share it with them. We are no longer gatekeeping our healing, right? Or our healing sources or inspiration. If something resonates, if it makes you think of someone else, now, if you know that they're going to be receptive and they're not going to be angry at you, use your discernment, right? Use your common sense, then share it. Right? And make sure that you subscribe, like, follow, all those things. Check the archives for previous messages, because your messages are in there. right? Your application is in there. Your information is in there. You just have to put in the effort and look, right? And then also make sure that you come back every single week, because every single Monday morning, 5:55 a.m. Central Standard Time, United States time, there is a brand new episode of this podcast. And then in addition to that, because Lord knows I'm not going to leave you hanging during the week, I always have a good word for you. You just got to look for me, right? So find me on all of social media. I am everywhere that you are. And if you don't find me there, send me a message and I will be there, right? Now, make sure though, when you look me up, remember, it's Marissa Moments, and that is Marissa with one S, because like I always like to say, there is only one me. So that's it for now. And I thank you for listening, and I wish you the best day ever. So until next time, you know the vibes. Peace and happy healing.